Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. More Pillage here as we take a look at the final scenario, number 5, which is Pilgrimage. So let's jump right in. Get a pretty neat map here with kind of a road bisecting in the middle of the deployment, or middle of the map rather, with the deployment zones at the ends here. So let's jump right in. A relic is being carried across the land under heavy guard to join a church in a far-off village. A little typo there. However, the mission isn't going to plan, so basically we have for the attacker 500 gold, the defender has that, and then the 3 priest characters. The relic's defenders deploy first. They have the initiative. During the first turn, next the attacker sets up their own deployment area. Up to 50% of the attacker's figures can be waiting in ambush, hidden in the forests in their deployment area. At the start of the game, the attacker chooses which figures will be ambushers and puts them to one side. At the start of one of the attacker's movement phases, the figures can emerge within 1 inch of any forest on a roll of 5 up. The attacker doesn't have to reveal all their ambushers at once and can decide how many figures emerge with each roll. They can repeat this maneuver each turn for as long as they have figures remaining in ambush. Forests here. The battlefield contains 4 forests, each represented by copses of 2 or 3 trees. Before the game begins, the players take turns placing 1 forest each until all 4 are on the table. And basically the game lasts until the relic leaves the table, so this isn't a set turn limit game. So basically, the defender has to get across the board and exit off the other side. Okay. Weather here is clear skies, no special rules, but again, we could incorporate weather to make things a little bit more tense here, and more complicated, not necessarily more complicated, but more of a drag on the defender getting across the board, depending on the weather conditions and stuff like that, but can make it a much more tense game. And as it says here, it can be replayed a lot of times. There's a lot of decisions, right? Use the road, positioning, forests, arranging the priests, etc. And then the road is the tempting part, right? Because you do get to move faster on the roads in this game. So a lot of fun things to consider. Always a great scenario, the way that they have this. So then we get the special rules here for the relics. They act like loot as soon as it leaves the priest's hands. The defender starts the game with 3 priest figures, 2 are decoys, and 1 has the relic. Neither the attacker nor the defender knows which priest has the relic. A priest can't pass the relic to an ally, and the relic doesn't affect a priest's movement. Basically, the priests are unarmored. They do carry an improvised weapon. So when a priest is eliminated, roll a d6. On a 4 up, he was the bearer of the relic, and the relic appears in-game as a loot marker on the spot where it fell. If the figure that eliminated the priest is in base-to-base contact, actually automatically picks it up. Now, if a priest leaves the table and the relic hasn't been discovered yet, roll a d6. On a 4 up, he was the bearer, and the defenders win. So it adds a fair bit of randomness, right? So if the defender kind of spreads out with all 3 priests, maybe 1 in the middle and 1 on each of the flanks, does it force the attacker to split themselves as well, in the off event that maybe they don't cover 1 flank and you can get that priest off the board. If that's the winner, then that's fun little bit of mind games there. You could have 1 priest heavily guarded, and maybe that's the decoy to suck the defenders in, and then go with the more lightly guarded one to try and get across the board. So does force, as it says, some interesting choices. Now, if the relic hasn't been discovered yet and there's only 1 priest left on the table, he automatically becomes the bearer of the relic. So then the battlefield is basically split down the middle by a road that meanders from one edge to the other. Deployment areas are opposite, as we see here, basically 4 inches in. And then again with the forest deployment, as mentioned earlier. There are only, these are only marked on the map as examples. Again, the players can place them wherever, but this is a pretty decent layout. The rest of the gaming table is pretty much open, but, as it says, put a few passable obstacles in here. It looks like they got a couple hills on here. Some neat things, right? Little bits and pieces of walls and fences and stuff like that. So it is a fun little scenario. Again, a little different than the other one. We're not just about killing things here. We're just trying to prevent the opponent from getting across the board. And basically, if the relic doesn't leave the table, although that is a little bit rough, right? So like if all the priests are dropped and the relic does drop, I guess it goes on until the last of the defenders is slain, because there is still a chance of maybe getting the relic off the board. Obviously, it's going to be increasingly more difficult as your forces dwindle, but nonetheless a fun scenario, and again worth testing out with different things like weather, as it mentions, maybe even night fighting, stuff like that. So a lot of neat ideas, right? And we could even take the board setup and do some different things with it. You know, maybe there's, in addition to the road, there's a couple other branching paths. Maybe this is a larger game. Maybe we incorporate like a stream or something somewhere. There's all kinds of fun options, but a really cool scenario, guys. Let us know if you've played Pilgrimage, how that's worked, any strategies you found to be the best there. Hit us up in the comments. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in another video for some more Pillage. Thanks for watching.